from West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Support for the following is provided by the West Virginia Department of Education and West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hey everyone, it's Education Station, the show where we invite teachers from all across West Virginia to submit videos of themselves teaching their favorite lessons. In today's episode, we've got 3 exciting lessons all about reading. Well, hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Alex Milanese, and we're kicking off today's episode with a fun read-aloud story. Mrs. Piekarski is going to share with us a book called My Mouth is a Volcano. Let's check it out.
Hi guys, it's Mrs. Piekarski, and today we are going to read a book called My Mouth is a Volcano. Okay, this is one of my favorites. It's written by Julia Cook and it's illustrated by Carrie Hartman. So the person who writes the words is called the author. The person who draws the pictures is called the illustrator. All right, so my mouth is a volcano. I'll turn so you guys can see the pictures. I'll make sure to hold them up. My name is Louie. People say I erupt a lot. I don't think I do. I have a lot to say, and all of my words are very important to me. When other people talk, words just pop into my head, and then they slide down onto my tongue. My tummy starts to rumble, and then it starts to grumble. Ooh. And my words begin to wiggle, and then they do the jiggle. My tongue pushes all of my important words up against my teeth, and then... Hey, guess what, you guys? I erupt. Words just explode out of my mouth. My mouth is a volcano. In class, my teacher says that when we want to say something, we're supposed to look at her, raise our hand, and wait until she calls on us. I tried that. After I waited patiently for what seemed like 62 years, my important words slid down from my head onto my tongue. So there's the picture of him having some trouble waiting his turn to speak, right? So he's saying he feels like he waited forever. It says my tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble, and my words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle, and my tongue pushed all of my important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. And here's all the words that he said. So they're sitting in class, and he finally erupts. He can't wait any longer, so he says, "Teacher, I think we should have recess all day, and I'm hungry too. Can we go to lunch now?" My teacher was less than pleased. Means she wasn't very happy. She erupted me right back. "I know what you were saying is very important to you, Louie, but since it is not an emergency, you'll have to wait until I call on you." It was my volcano's fault. And that's something that a lot of teachers say, right? It's important to remember, is what I'm telling the teacher an emergency, right? Does the teacher need to know this right this second, or can it wait? Right? So she's saying that wasn't an emergency. You know, you telling me that you want it to be lunchtime or that you wish it was time for us to go outside to recess, that's not an emergency. That's what she's trying to tell him, help him understand. At daycare, we were sitting on the rug listening to Miss Polly read us a story about planting trees. All of a sudden, I thought about the time my grandpa and I planted 6 trees in his front yard. So there's the picture of him thinking about it over here on the side. My important words slid down from my head onto my tongue. My tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble. My words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle. My tongue pushed all of my important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. And here's all the words that he said over here. I'm going to read them to you. He says, "Hey guys, once I planted zillions of trees with my grandpa, and..." And right in the middle of their story is when he erupted like that. So imagine if I were reading you guys this story and somebody just ran in and started saying, hey guys, I wish it was recess time. And right, it would be kind of hard to focus on what we're doing, huh? Well, guess what happened? I got a timeout. It was my Volcano's fault. And here's him sitting in his timeout. During dinner, Mom and Dad were talking about paying the bills. Then I thought about my friend, Bill. Bill can blow a bubble inside of a bubble when he chews 2 pieces of gum. Now that is really important. My important words about Bill slid down from my head onto my tongue. So he's saying, it's so important, right, that my parents know that my friend Bill can blow 2 bubbles at once. And guess what happened? My tummy started to rumble, and then it started to grumble, and all my words began to wiggle, and then they did the jiggle. My tongue pushed all of my very important words into my teeth, and my volcano erupted. So here's all the words that he said. Hey, Mom, Bill can blow a bubble in a bubble with his gum. Louie, my mom said, you interrupted again. If somebody else is talking and you don't have an emergency, you have to wait for your turn. But Mom, my words, they slide down from my head onto my tongue and then my stomach starts to rumble. Louie, you did it again. So his mom is trying to help him now. So his teacher told him, right, about how it's important to think, is this an emergency? Do I need to interrupt? And now his mom is saying the same thing, right? It's not an emergency, so you don't need to interrupt someone, right? You can wait your turn. I got sent to my room. She said I was rude. It was my volcano's fault. So we've talked about that, what it means to be rude. So rude means like you're being impolite, right? It's not very kind the way you're treating someone. It's kind of rude. Like interrupting is kind of a good example, right? Because if you were treating your friend or your mom in this case with kindness, right? If you were being polite, you would wait until they were done talking. So his mom is saying that was kind of rude how you kept interrupting me even after I talked to you about it. So he got sent to his room, and it says the next day at school was my very important day. I had been waiting for 126 weeks to be the student star of my class. This was my special moment. I got to share a poster with my class that had pictures of all my favorite things. I stood up in front of my class and began to tell them about the time I went fishing. And here's the pictures of Louie getting up with his poster and standing up in front of the class. So he's been waiting for so long for his moment to get to talk to the class about his poster, about his favorite things. So he's talking about the time he went fishing. And halfway through my story, Richard started to tell everyone about when he went deep sea fishing in Mexico. His story must have been better than mine because everyone started to look at him. He was stealing my important words. Richard, said my teacher, you just interrupted Louie. Please wait until he is finished talking and then he might call on you. I couldn't believe how rude that was of Richard. He erupted me. That really made me angry. So now Louie knows what it feels like to be interrupted. And he doesn't like it, huh? He said he's really angry. Well, it says, after talking about my fishing trip, I started to explain the x-ray of my broken arm. Just as I was getting to the good part, Courtney started to tell the class about when she broke her leg. Courtney, said my teacher, you just interrupted Louie. Please wait until he is finished talking and then he might call on you. I couldn't believe how rude that was of Courtney. She started talking right during my 15 minutes of fame. That's a saying for like when everybody has their attention on you. She ruined my important words. She almost stole my moment. So he is really not liking it when other people are interrupting him, is he? So now that he knows how it feels to be erupted on, he doesn't like it very much. He kind of thinks it's rude. When I got home, I told my mom about rude Richard and rude Courtney. Now you know how we feel when you interrupt us, said my mom. I never thought about that. I just get so excited and my words, they just pop into my head and then they slide down onto my tongue and my tummy starts to rumble and then it starts to grumble and my words begin to wiggle and then they do the jiggle. Then my tongue pushes all of my important words up against my teeth and I erupt. Words just explode out of my mouth. My mouth is a volcano. What do you think Mom is going to think about that? Well, maybe Richard and Courtney have volcanoes in their mouths too, my mom replied. I never thought about that. Well, son, the next time your important words are pushed into your teeth by your tongue, bite down hard and don't let them out. Then take a deep breath and push your words out through your nose. Then, when it's your turn to talk, take a deep breath and breathe them back into your mouth. Will that work? I asked. Only if you make it work, said my mom. So here's the picture of his mom showing him how to do that. So she's saying when you feel like those words are going to explode out of you, just bite down hard, don't let them out, take deep breaths, and you'll breathe the words right back out and right back in. Well, let's see if it works. It says, that night at the dinner table, my sister Sylvia was in the middle of one of her long girl stories when my important words began to slide down from my head and my volcano started to do its thing. Just as my tongue started to push my words out through my teeth, I bit down really hard and then I breathed my words out through my nose. As soon as my sister finished talking, I took a deep breath and back in went the words. I was amazed that they had just hung around outside my mouth and didn't float away. Then I told my story and nobody got mad at me for erupting. So now, one, it worked, right? And he was able to tell his story and nobody's feelings were hurt because he interrupted them. So even better, right? After that, I never erupted again. Well, except for the time Bill's bubble gum got stuck in my hair. But that was a real emergency. And here's a picture of him up at the top with the gum in his hair. Yeah, that's absolutely something worth interrupting about if you get gum stuck in your hair. All right, and that is the end of My Mouth is a Volcano.
Thanks, Mrs. Piekarski. All right, next up on today's reading-inspired episode, we have Miss Sinisi, who is going to cover an important lesson on sight words. Let's check it out.
Today we're going to look at a book and to talk about a little about some sight words for little kids, learning how to read. So we would love to learn to read lesson 1. Learning to read can be fun, right? And books are treasures to be explored no matter what your age is. So we're going to begin our reading journey with our very first topical book. It's called Snow, and it's by Roy Mackay and P.D. Eastman. So I'm going to read it to you, this book about snow, and then we're going to look at some sight words because we would like to have some words we can relate back that we can learn. We always want to learn from what we read, right? So let's look at the book. Here's our little dog, and he says, snow, 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 come out in the snow. Snow, snow, just look at the snow. Come out, come out in the snow. Sorry, I got my pages. I want to know if you like snow. Do you like it? Yes or no? Oh yes, I do like snow. Do you like it in your face? Yes, I like it any place. What is snow? We do not know, but snow is lots of fun, we know. What makes it snow? We do not know, but snow is fun to dig and to throw. Snow is good for me and you, for men and women, horses too. Snow is good. It makes you slide. It lets you give your dog a ride. There he is, riding in the sled. Snow is good for making tracks and making pictures with your backs. See, they're making snow angels. We go uphill, the snow is deep. We can't go fast, the hill is steep. We think our dog has gone to sleep. But then we get up to the top at last. Down we come down fast. Sometimes we put on long, long feet and walk up every hill we meet. Downhill we fly, downhill we sail. Our dog sails after on his tail. What a silly thing to do. Are your feet too long for you? Come on, get up, get on your way. We have a lot to do today. Now take some snow and make a ball, and lots of snowballs make a wall. Put on more snowballs one by one. Our house of snow will soon be done. Look, they're making an igloo. Do you like bread? Do you like meat? Come in our house, come in and eat. Snow is lots of fun, all right. It gives you a big appetite. We had our bread, we had our meat. Some bread is left for birds to eat. Now make another ball of snow. Push it, see it go. What a snowball! See it grow and grow and grow. What will we make? Let's make a man. Let's make the biggest man we can. We will call our snowman Ned, but first he has to have a head. His head will have to have a hat. His hat is on, just look at that. He is so big, he is so tall, he is the biggest man of all. The sun, it came out fast. Do you think Ned is going to last? Probably not, huh? Keep that sun away from Ned. That sun is going to his head. We got Ned there. The biggest snowman of them all is very, very small. He melted. The way the sun is coming down, there soon will be no snow in town. Take some, save it from the sun. Take all you can and run, run, run. The snow out there will come and go, but snow will keep in here, we know. So we will put it away and play with it some other day. I think that is the end of our book. That is the end. So now we're going to look at some sight words. And what I did was to put the sight words on snowballs. So you can think of these words as snowballs that you can use in your armory of words. So once you have words and acquire them and know what they mean, then they're yours to keep forever. So the easy sight words we have from our story are snow, out, know, look, went, face, dog, throw, slide, ride, and dig. You might want to write those down and you can practice them. And when you learn how to say them, then you can learn what they mean and use them in a sentence. We also have some medium or harder sight words. These are a little bit longer. Tracks, pictures, right? Backs, deep and steep and sleep. Those all rhyme. Feet and meat rhyme, and wall and ball rhyme. We can also arm ourselves with these snowball words, and the hardest words of all are just 3. So if you graduate to the hardest words, they are appetite, it's a big word, huh? Bread, and biggest. All right, so you can practice your sight words this week, and then next week we will look at a different book, maybe a little bit harder sight words. And so as you keep learning words, your knowledge will grow and grow.
Thanks, Miss Denise. All right, for our final segment today, Miss Johnson has a read aloud and vocabulary lesson ready for us. Let's check it out.
Hi, my name is Annie Johnson, and today we are going to be doing a short read aloud following with a lesson plan on these 14 main vocab words throughout the book. So make sure you're paying attention and be ready for questions at the end. Let's begin. Before I begin my reading, I'm going to go over how I set up my index card. And it would be a great idea if you made some index cards too, just to help your child remember their vocab words throughout the book. I'm going to have a vocab word set up in the middle and your part of speech at the top. We'll only be using adjectives and nouns. An adjective describes a noun, and a noun is a person, place, or thing. We're not going to really focus on this today, but I want it to be something that you think about. Our definition will be at the top, and at the bottom we're going to have an example of each word. I want you to be able to name one for each word throughout the book. I'm going to go over 3 with you at the end. On our right side, we're going to have a picture that'll be on the same page, and it's just going to be able to help you keep your student or child engaged. So if they lose interest, you can always just ask them to try to find that picture on the page. And for some of the words, it can even help give an example. Let's begin the reading. How Big Could Your Pumpkin Grow? By Wendell Miner. At the pumpkin farm, we picked the perfect pumpkin. Some are little, some are big, and some are giant-sized. Our bold letter and words are giant. Our word is giant. We know that it's an adjective, and giant means of very great size or force. What do we know that is very great in size? Giant pumpkin festivals are tons of fun. Will the biggest pumpkin set a world record? Wow. Our word is ton, and it's a noun, meaning it's a person, place, or thing. A ton is a large number or amount. What do we know that's a large number or a large amount? What can you do with an enormous pumpkin? Carve it into a boat and race in the regatta. Row, row, row your pumpkin. Our word is enormous. It's an adjective, and it means very large in size, quantity, or extent. What do we know that's very large in size? The legendary Paul Bunyan and his blue ox Babe were giants too. They liked to think big. If they gave you giant pumpkin seeds, how big could your pumpkin grow? We're familiar with the word big. We know that it's an adjective, and it means of a very large or largest size. Everything in this picture is big. I want you to think of another example of something that's big. Would it rise as high as hot air balloons at the Fall Fiesta Fair? Our word is high, and it's an adjective. It means of great vertical extent. If your child is beginning to lose interest, you can always ask them to find the duck air balloon. Be thinking of something that's high. Or beam as bright as the lighthouse at the beach. Our word is bright, and it's an adjective, and it means giving out or reflecting a lot of light, shining. The lighthouse is very bright. What is something else that's bright? Your gigantic pumpkin could glow like the skyscrapers, but watch out, horns will honk on the bridge when it blocks traffic. Beep, beep. Our word is gigantic. It's an adjective, and it means of very great size or extent, huge or enormous. I want you to think about something you know that's very gigantic. They do things big in Texas. Would your giant pumpkin be boss in a jumbo cowboy hat? Jumbo is a noun, and it means a very large person or thing. What do we know that's very large? Or a hungry monster gobbling riders on the tallest, fastest roller coaster. I know that we're all familiar with the word monster. We know that it's a noun, and it means a thing or animal that is excessively or dauntingly large, meaning something that's very big, it's very tall, anything like that. Think of something you know that is excessively large. Imagine if your pumpkin was too immense for hide and seek and couldn't even hide behind the Capitol dome. Immense is an adjective, and it's extremely large or great, especially in scale or degree. You can see that the pumpkin is very large and it's hiding behind the Capitol, but it's so large that you can see it. Think of something else you know that's very large. Perhaps your mighty pumpkin could grow up to be president. Hail to the chief. Our word is mighty. It's an adjective, and it means possessing great and impressive power or strength, especially in size. So what do we know that's very powerful in size? Would your stupendous pumpkin make a super splash atop a towering waterfall? Our word is stupendous. It's an adjective, and it means extremely impressive. What do we know that's extremely impressive? Three, two, one, blast off. Wouldn't your astronomical pumpkin smile to see a rocket zoom into space? Astronomical, and it's an adjective, and we know that it's of an amount or extremely large. What do we know that is extremely large? And it can be an amount of something that's extremely large, or just something that's extremely large in general. Could the most colossal pumpkin fill the Grand Canyon? Who knows? Isn't it fun to imagine giant pumpkins everywhere you go? Our word is colossal. It's an adjective, and it means extremely large. So think of something you know that's extremely large. A lot of our words throughout the book, you can see that there's a common factor, and it's that a lot of the words are implying something that's extremely large. So let's go over a couple examples. An example for enormous could be a crowd of people. So very large in size and quantity means lots of numbers. So crowds are full of lots of people. And a good example for big could be your school. Is your school very big? And our last word that I'm going to go over with you is going to be immense. What do we know that's extremely large or great? And I said the universe, because it's huge and so big. I want you to think of an example for each word that we read today. And I hope that you've learned something. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Miss Johnson. All right, well, that wraps up everything for us here today on Education Station. We want to thank everyone who shared their awesome lessons, and we want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Education Station.